Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, it's Dave. It's Thursday afternoon, it's 2:30, and that means it's yoga time. You join me here in my flat in the middle of Leicester. Um, yeah, I sometimes teach from the Space to Breathe Collective, which is a cooperative wellness organization which I helped found. And the signal in there is rubbish at the moment. So it's a beautiful space and looks fantastic. But the signal here is a lot better. So I hope you don't mind the last few weeks. We've been practicing in my flat, and hopefully there's not too many distractions going on with the fire in the settee, and you get to see me, and that's probably enough, right? We only want to see you, Dave. I want to see your settee. So yeah, thank you so much for coming along. Feel free to say hi. I've got the chat bar open. I'm just looking here. Think about this newsletter which the Virtual Village Hall are doing, so you can stay in the loop with the monthly newsletter. So if you go there, royalvoluntaryservice.org.uk, and then newsletter sign up, you'll find it on there. And then that'll give you all of the information about the new classes that are coming, any kind of like celebrities which are, teaching. It's like cookery and yeah, there's so much great stuff going on, isn't there? So if you want to be in the loop, then go for it. And there's our address, spacetobreathecollective.co.uk. If you're ever in Leicester or the Midlands, then come and see us. We do classes for the community on Fridays and Wednesdays, and they're £5 each. Because what we're seeing at the moment, and I'll get into this a little bit, is that we're seeing in general that people are probably struggling in lots of different ways. Where are we? We're in mid-February, right? So everyone gets to the end of January, and then suddenly it's like, oh, we got January out of the way, and then February comes, and then a lot of people are kind of like, oh man, February is just as bad as January. It's just a bit warmer, but a bit wetter, right? But I think financially, a lot of people are really struggling, and I think that's probably a knock-on effect of, like, what have we been 3 years since we came out of that final lockdown, or nearly 3 years. And I think in so many ways, a lot of people are struggling financially. And it's sometimes when people are struggling financially and feeling distressed and disconnected, that's when they need their yoga more. Because we know that with yoga, there is unity and one true connection. But we can only do that, right, if we're practicing. So we need ways to practice. We need a community to tap into. Now, if this is what you found, the Virtual Village Hall, fantastic, because it's an online community, right? All right, we're not seeing people face to face, but it's a fantastic medium where we get to check in, we get to tune in. If you do yoga every week, it's like, it is really fantastic, that we can do this, and it's free, right? You can donate to the Royal Voluntary Service if you've got a bit of spare cash, but they don't ask you for that. And this is a really nice way to connect. Or go and find something in your local community. There are lots of cheap classes, right? Like things like the U3A, which are a really great organization. I think if you're over the age of 55, then you can join the U3A. And it's not just yoga, they do Pilates and loads of other activities as well, and then you get to connect with a group of like-minded people. And that's a really great way where we find our, a little bit of joy, a little bit of connection. We get out of our heads, we move, we be creative, whatever you're doing, right? It doesn't have to be yoga. And it's a tough time for a lot of people. So if you made it this far, then well done. And consistency, as you know, is really important, right? I'm always talking about consistency in your practice. And there's two things, and I think I said it the other week. Like, number one is to start a practice, and number two is to continue a practice. Now, the starting, it's a challenge for a lot of people, and for me, it took me 40 odd years to start practicing yoga. But continuing for me is like, that's my path, that's my journey, that's not just yoga, but I know that yoga is a really amazing way for me to get into my body physically, mentally, that spiritual word, spiritually, which is, to me, feeling and going a little bit deeper, energetically. And then I can really check in with what's going on for me. But it's a regular consistent practice, not where I'm just ticking a box and going, I did my yoga. What was it like? Oh, I wasn't really engaged in it at all. It's a regular practice where, you know, I really want to engage in it, and it's different every time. But I take the pressure off. It doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to feel a certain way. And that's all we're doing. We're feeling, right? We're feeling into ourselves, and we miss ourselves so much with the craziness of life. We worry about finances. We worry about how busy we are. We worry about being disconnected, right? Yoga is the antidote to all of that. This is where we get to calm the central nervous system and calm our minds. And it's magic. And it's been happening for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, right? These practices are universal. They're for everybody. They're not just for a select few. They're not for young people. They're not for bendy people. Well, they are actually, but they're also for people like me who's not young and not bendy, and probably people like you. And we're all really different, right? But we deserve to practice. And this is a love letter to yourself. Genuinely, this is a really important thing. And if you think, I ain't doing yoga, then that's fine. Find something that is good for you. Okay, right. And Margaret says, talking about consistency, I do yoga every morning. It's become a wonderful habit. And she's 72. See, that's the stuff. That's the juicy stuff, right? And we don't know how long Margaret practices for. She'll probably tell us. You know, a practice doesn't have to be an hour or 90 minutes. It could be 10 minutes. It could be 5 minutes. It could be half an hour. It could be breath work. It could be meditation. It could be moving your body. It can be anything, right? You find something that suits you. Don't put pressure on yourself. Get into a beautiful rhythm, and away we go, right? And then things begin to unfold, right? And it's backwards and forwards on this path. So with that in mind, I promise you we will do a little bit of yoga in a moment. But this is all yoga, right? Chatting. So thinking about consistency. Okay, so the famous French chef Augustus Escoffier said, unfortunately, no theories, no formula, and no recipes, however well written, can take the place of a practical experience. So unfortunately, no theories, no formula, no recipes, however well written, can take the place of a practical experience. A writer on food described the art of cooking as patience, presence, and practice. The same is true for the art of yoga. To be successful, to experience the potential of softening and loosening, we have to take our place on the mat and get on with it. All right. So we have to take our place on the mat and get on with it with practice, with patience, with presence. Then the inner skies could be changing. The experience of practicing yoga might be described as moving with grace, gratitude, recognizing what it is, acceptance, curiosity, and effort. And instead of being critical, we are curious in how we engage with moments, and there is that effort of exploration. This approach of grace is a much sweeter place to be than that of ambition and striving or straining to impress and desperately seeking to improve. Wow, I love that last bit. The approach of grace, it's a much sweeter place to be than that of ambition and striving, of straining to impress and desperately seeking to improve. Whoa, that's magic, right? Because that takes all the pressure off, right? And remember, I was talking about this thing the other day, you know, when you're in a pose and you start screwing your face up, they're the joyless strivers or the joyless strainers. Don't make your practice be joyless, even if it's just a moment where you think, I connected really deeply with myself there. That's amazing. And Margaret says she practices for 20 to 30 minutes a day, which is a beautiful amount, because probably, Margaret, that really fits in with your routine. And I don't know what your routine is, but you know, get out of bed, maybe have a cup of tea, get on your mat, 20 to 30 minutes, and bing, we're ready to go, right? Yeah. And Jackie, I hear you about finances. Try not to worry too much about them, because I have this opinion that things do sort themselves out. But I'm not diminishing your worry. I think, you know, finances for a lot of people are a real worry at the moment, but we'll find a way through them. Remember, don't despair. There's a way through every block. That's what my yoga teacher used to say. And we will probably do that through the practice of yoga as well. All right. So I'm going to go back on my mat. I realize that is, what is that? 9 minutes of me talking. And remember, this is not just about a physical practice. This is about a little bit of philosophy and working through the kind of the troubles and the tribulations of life. I'm going to sit on a bolster today. So we're going to do quite a bit of breath work here. And you can sit however you want. I'm going to sit like this today, just because, you know, we kind of think sometimes, oh, I've got to come onto a mat and I've got to cross my legs and I've got to draw length in my spine. Then I'm just going to find a really relaxed posture here. Now, I have got length in my spine, and I'll probably let my hands just relax so I can breathe into my belly. I've got loads of room to breathe into. Sit however you want. Now remember, because we're going to do quite a bit of breath work today and a little bit of pranayama, then maybe find a chair. That could be really lovely. Or bring your back up against the wall. If you're with me, then place the soles of the feet on the floor. Maybe if your legs are crossed, then you just feel the blade edges of your feet. And then maybe close your eyes. And just check in with yourself. Just really gently. So I'm going to stay silent for about 90 seconds and then we'll check in with each other. So and just take 2 more complete rounds of breath here, really gently. And then if your eyes are closed, just gently blink your eyes open. Any movement that feels good for you. You know, I'm pretty lazy today, so I'm just going to kind of drop my knees to either side. I'm sat on my bolster. If you sat in a chair, you can probably, you know, have the soles of the feet on the floor and do something similar. If you sat on the floor, then certainly this movement will be hopefully available to you. If you're working with anything, then that's cool. I had a lovely coffee with a couple of women this morning, and they're both telling me about their hip replacements and how they really wanted to get back into yoga and how they were ready to get back into yoga. And I said, you know, it doesn't have to be this crazy acrobatic practice. And they said, oh, I'm just a bit nervous. And I think we do, you know, when we suffer through physical ailments and as we get older, we do get a little bit cautious, but we're trying to find reasonable effort, right? Not too much, not too little. Come back to center. I'm just going to sit myself up again. Beautiful. Nice. And then just a little bit of movement through your neck. You can do again, legs crossed or sat in a chair. Just circling your head out. Noticing any areas of tension. Notice where you find ease. Notice where you find resistance. We're looking for that middle ground, right? We're looking for that engagement, but we're trying to soften as we move. We're trying to work out all the kinks, all the knots, all the stories. That idea where we hold, you know, that anxiousness in our body that manifests itself physically, gets trapped within the body. So just think about areas that you want to breathe into. Bring the head back to center, then just swap it out. And it might be like, well, do you know what? I just want to move my neck. Can I do that? Yes, you can. You can do anything that feels good for you. You can be exactly the way you need to be. When you think about your yoga practice with compassion to yourself, connection to yourself, and a big, big dose of curiosity. No judging, because it doesn't get us anywhere. We've probably done way too much of that in our lives. Inhale, bring the head back to center. And exhale, if your eyes are closed, just bring the eyes open. Beautiful, really nice. So I want to ask you a question. When we did that like 90 to 2 minutes worth of just sitting still and I was quiet, have a little reflect on what you felt. And I don't mean physically, even though you might have done, that might be relevant. But what did you experience? You know, I experienced this stillness, obviously, because I was still within my body, and I could really quite intuitively tap into my breath. But I could hear a bird outside, which is quite rare, because I say to my wife, we don't really get birds. I've got a balcony on the other side of that camera, and I said, we don't really get birds on our balcony. We're right in a concrete jungle here. But I could hear a bird outside, which was beautiful. And I've got a small candle burning here, and I could hear the candle just burning away, and I can obviously smell it. So I could sort of smell, and I could sort of taste, because it's in the air, and I could hear, and I could experience my breath. I could feel. And we miss all that, don't we? You know, when we're moving around and we're getting busy, or we're distracted, I kind of reflect sometimes how distracted I can be. And it's only when I sit and pay attention, that's where the magic happens. So for me, it's a go-to, right? It's really important. All right, let's do one more thing. I'm going to come with my legs crossed now. Now you can stay on a chair, or you can stay with your back against a wall. Take an inhale just to sweep your arms up into the air. And then as you exhale, just twist over to the right. Now, I encourage you to just twist really gently. Inhale to find length, and then exhale into your twist. Nice. So you can see my spine is nice and long. Every inhale, I'm lengthening. Every exhale, I'm just twisting a tiny little bit. Take one more round of breath. Nice deep inhale. And then a full exhale, and then come all the way back to center. I was just looking at my floor, because I vacuumed just before this class, which is not a regular occurrence for me, and it looks beautiful. All right, inhale, sweep the arms up, and then exhale over to the left. How did you prepare for your yoga class, Dave? I got my vacuum out, everyone, and now I'm really proud of the work that I've done. Every inhale, find length. Every exhale into your twist. Maybe close your eyes. And then find your focus. Where does it need to go? Where does it want to go? Maybe it just intuitively drops somewhere. For me, my focus is intuitively just dropping in to my right-hand side of my lower back, because that's where I feel the sensation. My left shoulder wants to open a little bit more. It requires a tiny bit more breath. So I'm going to breathe into those parts of the body that really need it. Take one more round of breath here. And then as you exhale, come all the way back to center. Give the shoulders a little wriggle out. In fact, let's do this a little more formally. So again, on the floor or from a chair, inhale the shoulders up, exhale the shoulders down. And you might be able to hear my breath. Inhaling up, exhale down. As you drop the shoulders down, really drop them, kind of lose control, and kind of don't force them down, but drop them down, and then bring the shoulders up. Do one shoulder at a time. Inhale up, exhale down. Notice if you hold tension in one shoulder more than the other. My right side's a lot stiffer. I rode into a lamppost a couple of years ago, which sounds ridiculous. It was quite painful. And then inhale both shoulders up a couple more times. And then as you exhale, just drop your shoulder blades down your back. Maybe close your eyes just for a few breaths. Breathe in deeply here. And again, just drop back into that focus. Just notice what you're noticing here. Just find stillness within your body. And just notice the sensations. And it might not even be sensations. It might be dropping back to what we were doing a moment ago. Just paying attention of what you feel, what you hear, what you taste, what you smell. All the senses are open here. Nice. And then when you're ready, if your eyes are closed, just come with your eyes open. Now, if you're on a chair, you can stay there if you want. We're going to go on to all fours, but if you've got anything going on with your knees and you think, you know what, knees are not for me today, stay in your chair. We're going to move through some cat and cow, so you can do all that from a seated position. Okay, so if you're doing cat and cow from a seated position, obviously you'll be slightly different to me here, but you inhale forward and you exhale, you round the spine, but you can do this from your chair. All right, if you're joining me, then come onto your mat. I'm going to give my legs a nice stretch out, so maybe stretch one leg back. If you're on a chair, maybe stretch the arms above the head, or you can always bring the legs long and just feel through the entire side of that right leg, maybe the sole of the foot. Have a look at your fingers, spread your fingers out. So really subtle movements here. And then just swap out to the left side. Notice how that feels. Remember, it's a feeling practice. Feel into the body. Nice. And then come with the knees right underneath the hips. All right. Let's move through some cat and cow. So from a chair or following my lead, inhale, drop the belly down, lift your head, lift your heart as you exhale around your spine. Inhale, drop the belly down, lift the head, lift the heart, exhale around your spine. Just get into a nice steady rhythm. Every inhale, if you get lost, you hear the spine is long, the head and the heart are lifted. You press into the hands. As you exhale, you tuck the belly back, you round your spine, breathe in between the shoulders. So it becomes like this wave-like motion. You can keep the eyes closed. And then 3 more rounds. And then inhale, come all the way back to center. Then as you exhale, come into a really nice, lazy, delicious child's pose. Lay your body down towards the ground. And again, with this one, we'll be here for a little bit of time. Remember, you can always stack your head on your hands if that feels good. So here can feel quite nice. Melting your heart down towards the floor. If you're in a chair, I should say, probably a really nice opportunity to bring a blanket underneath your body and then see if you can find yourself in child's pose, or you can always do this lying on your back with your knees really wide and kind of hugged in towards your chest. So you just want the lower spine to really relax and to open out. And that takes time, right? So we're just taking our time getting there. And then from here, just take a couple more rounds of breath. And then when you're ready, if the hands aren't out in front, then stretch them out forward and then press yourself back to all fours. Stack your knees underneath your hips and then just move through a few more rounds of cat and cow. Kind of free the spine up. Nice. Beautiful. And then we're going to come to lie on our backs. So don't usually come here this early, and we will transition from here. So come to lie down. Now you can bring the soles of the feet on the floor and then just simply come to lie and hook your knees in towards your belly. So again, a lot of focus on the lower spine here. Maybe just rocking from side to side. The more you hook your knees in towards your belly, hopefully the more the spine will release. But find a reasonable effort. Remember, you're not straining here. We're not striving. We're not trying to make our practice be a particular thing. We're just watching it unfold together, right? It's beautiful. Take all the pressure out of it. And then bring the soles of your feet down onto your mat. And then walk your feet wide. Walk your feet in. So you might be able to touch your ankles. Doesn't matter if you can't. Walk them in as far as you can. So you're kind of here. And then lengthen your arms out. Take a really deep inhale here, so to center. As you exhale, drop your knees over towards the right. Now you can be here. You don't have to drop them all the way down. They don't need to come here. They can be just dropping down a tiny bit. As long as you feel something in that left hip, you'll probably feel it in the front of the hip. So knees are falling over to the right. Shoulders are relaxed. And if you wanted to, you can always turn the gaze to the left. See what that does. See how that impacts your physicality. All right, from here, take an inhale, come back to center. And then as you exhale, drop your knees over to the left. And then maybe have a little think about how your shoulders are, from the fingertips all the way to the shoulder blades. And then if it feels good, maybe turn the gaze to the right. You can close the eyes. You can breathe it out here. Give yourself permission to be nice and still. And that idea of doing little, remember it's a radical act. A radical act. It's countercultural, right? And we probably want to be here more than we allow ourselves to. Take a couple more rounds of breath. You send the breath where you need to send it. When you're ready, inhale. Bring the knees all the way back to center. And then very gently bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees fall open. Now you can keep the arms where they are. Sometimes if they stay in the same position, they can feel a little restricted. So a nice thing here is to bring one hand on the heart and one hand on the belly. So it feels really comforting, nourishing. And we've done it before, when we do like a 3-part breath, when we breathe into the belly, and then we breathe into the ribs, and we breathe into the upper chest and back. Well, I'm not asking you to do that, but think about your fullness of your breath. If you have your hands on your belly or one hand on your belly, then see how deeply you can breathe into that hand, but keeping the breath nice and relaxed. Nice. Just take a couple more rounds of breath. And when you're ready, very slowly, bring your hands onto your outer thighs and then just begin to bring the knees together. Now do this in stages. Maybe walk the feet in and then lift the feet and see if you can grab around the knees or the backs of the shins. Backs of the legs, I should say. And just rock it out here. Notice how that feels. And then bring your legs nice and long. So then right down your mat. Realign your spine if you need to. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up, and then as you exhale, just drop the arms down. So find a really looseness through your body. Let the bones kind of melt down into the floor. So your feet will probably just fall open now. Just a couple of breaths, and then we'll bring them back together. And then just find a little bit of activation. So bring the feet together. And then from here, take an inhale, just lengthen through your right arm and your right leg. Keep breathing. Every inhale, maybe you find a little bit more of a lengthening. So the left side is super soft. And then relax the right side and then lengthen through the left-hand side. Think about the sole of your left foot right into your left hip, right up into that middle left finger, keeping the shoulder blades relaxed. And then relax everything down. And then lengthen through your right arm and your left leg. So you kind of do that little stretch across the body, little bow action. And relax, and then left arm, right leg, stretch across your body. Deep inhales, full exhales, keep the breath flowing. And relax everything down. Beautiful. Inhale, bring the arms up, and then as you exhale, bring the hands all the way down. Bend back into your knees. Beautiful, really nice. And then bring your knees back in towards your chest. Maybe rock out a little bit or a lot. You know, you can make the movements as big or small as feels appropriate for you. And then you're just going to roll over onto your right hand side and then use your right hand as a pillow. And just take a couple of breaths here, just transition in. And then when you're ready, just come to sit. I'm going to come a little bit closer to you guys. So if you're back on your mat, then maybe you want to sit in a chair, or you can make this part of the class as comfortable as feels good for you. I feel a little more open now. You know, my body feels a little bit more stretched out. So sitting feels better than it did at the start. So notice those changes. Press your fingertips into the floor and then feel your spine lengthen here and just feel how much breath that you've got in your body. Maybe close your eyes. See if you can sort of tap into a quality. Beautiful, really nice. And then if your eyes are closed, just come with your eyes open. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of alternate nostril breathing. This will be kind of the final part of the class that we're going to do today. Probably finish a little bit earlier today. But let's get into this. I'm looking around because I'm thinking, do I want to sit on something? Can't quite decide. I'm going to sit on a cushion. I've got plenty of stuff around me. So get comfortable. You don't need anything here apart from your hand. Lengthen your spine. And you're just going to bring your right hand up. Now we're going to swap this around a little bit and we're going to change it. So It sometimes sounds complicated. It isn't. And if you get your right and your left mixed up, don't worry about it. All right. Okay. Bring the right hand up and then block off your right nostril with your right thumb. Maybe close your eyes and focus just here, really soft focus in between your eyes. And then take a deep inhale through your left nostril. And close off the left with your ring finger or little finger, and then beautiful long exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. And then close off your right with your thumb, switch, exhale through your left. Inhaling through your left. Close off the left with a ring finger or little finger, exhale through the right. Deep inhale through your right. Exhale through your left. See if you're tensing anywhere. See if you've lost length in your spine. Inhale through your left. Switch, exhale through your right. Inhale through your right. Close it off with the thumb, switch, exhale through your left. So let's just change this a little bit. So your next inhale, make it a little sharper and a little shorter. So it's like 3 seconds. And then at the top, see if you can just pause your breath. Your thumb's still on the right nostril. Maybe a little engagement at your belly, or the awareness is at your belly, at your navel. And then close off your left and then exhale for your right, but make the exhale a little longer. And then a shorter, sharper inhale through the right. Pause the breath. And then close off the right, a nice long exhale through the left. Nice. One more round. So inhale through your left. Pause the breath. Bring your focus right to your third eye. And then close off the left. Exhale through the right. It's a little longer. Inhale through your right. A little shorter. Pause the breath. And then close off right. Exhale through your left. And then bring your right hand down. Really beautiful. Bring your palms face up if that feels okay. Check in with your experience. Notice what you're noticing. And just noticing the effects of your practice today. Noticing the efforts that it takes to get onto your mat, to commit. That just giving ourselves these brief moments in our lives can be rewarding and nourishing. And yeah, absolutely, Jackie, can really help with things like anxiety and worry. From here, bring your hands to your heart and then press your thumbs into your heart space and see if you can connect deeply to your heart, to your feeling side. And if you can, and it feels safe, then just appreciate yourself. Appreciate everything you do for yourself, everything you do for other people, however big or small. And with that in mind, with a wholehearted bow, wish yourself well and wish everybody else well. Namaste. Thanks, you guys. Thank you for coming along today. It ended up quite chilled out, didn't it? If I think about my energy at the start, and I was chatting and it's this and it's that, passionate, right? I was being passionate about yoga. And now I feel kind of a little bit chilled about yoga. So that idea that second yoga sutra, which is yoga is the calming of the fluctuations of the mind, the mental modifications, or the chitta vrittis, the whirlpooling of the mind. Ooh. And yoga calms that, calms it right down. And hopefully it works. And I encourage you, wholeheartedly encourage you, get onto a mat, keep practicing. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it doesn't matter, right? As long as it doesn't become a tick box, as long as it's something that you want to come back to time and time again. Thank you, Irene. Thank you, Margaret. Thank you, Jackie. Anyone else who was watching today, good on you. Seriously, good on you for turning up, because it means a lot. It means a lot to me, means a lot to all of the guys at the Virtual Village Hall, and support these guys. And yeah, they'll keep doing their amazing stuff. All right, everyone. Look after yourselves. Have a great weekend, and I'll catch you all next week. All right. Satnam. Namaste.